just said you don't come here no more about that. It's Phil. It is Philip, man. I told you it's Philip, you liar. Hey, Philip, give me a kiss, baby. Shake it, hey. Phil. What's wrong, man?
Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Tuesday, May 17th, 2016. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. Usually you will hear the dulcet tones of Dwayne Long joining me on Tuesdays, but Dwayne was called into emergency action yesterday. So we've called on our ace reliever, Alex Gleitman, from the Big Apple. Alex, we always start out the show with a Gem City weather report. It's always gray, like it is today. How does it look in Manhattan this morning?
It's gray in Manhattan, too, about probably 60, 64 degrees today, so probably pretty similar to out there.
That's a no-go. My guess is there'll be a little more eye candy on the street in Manhattan, but I digress. Well, we had the boarding house up yesterday, and for those of you who saw it, the headline was Emory in the End, a reference to Georgia quarterback Emory Jones, possibly being the quarterback for Ohio State when the class of 2018 is all said and done. He was theoretically in competition with Phil Jurkovec for that spot, and he may get that spot in the long run. Last night, Phil Jurkovec, in what can only be termed a mild shocker, committed to Notre Dame. Alex, what were you as shocked as I was when you read that? And what's your impression of how that fits into the overall Ohio State quarterback vibe?
Yeah, I mean, as I said on the front row yesterday, I was not as shocked at the decision as I was at the timing. You know, he was just in Columbus, 2 weeks ago now? Not even 2 weeks ago, May 7th, 10 days ago, for the opening regional, Phil Jurkovec was. And, you know, at that point, I mean, things were looking good for Ohio State. I'm not saying they were going to land him. I always thought it was a close battle between Ohio State and Notre Dame. I didn't put in a crystal ball prediction because I just felt it was too early to tell, but it seemed like Phil was going to make another return trip to Ohio State. His father said that. And also, you know, he's going to make a couple trips to Notre Dame. It looked like he may take a couple other trips this summer. And I just thought, I thought he was a kid who maybe could make an early commitment. He doesn't seem like a kid who loves the process and wanted to go through everything and get all the attention, take all 5 officials and decide on signing day. That's just not his style. But I thought he was a kid who maybe would come back for one more Ohio State visit, take a Notre Dame visit, maybe take a couple other visits, Penn State during the summer, and then maybe make a decision in late June, July, maybe even August, right before his season started. So I was a little bit surprised at the timing. Talking to people at Ohio State, they didn't really seem all that surprised. And I think going down to see Emory Jones throw and offering him when they did, maybe they kind of knew that something was going to happen soon with Notre Dame. So I think overall I was a little surprised at the timing, but not completely by the decision.
Right. I mean, if you read the boarding house yesterday, I know Steve Wilfong was taking some guff for having a crystal ball flipped towards Ohio State for Jurkovec, but he was not the only one sending out those kind of vibes. One of our sources who I can promise you guys is very close to the eye of the storm felt the same way. So it does come with a little bit of a curveball. I do wonder if something specific did take place to make him change his mind. I don't think Jurkovec is the kind of guy that's scared off by the depth chart. If you read about him or look at it, he's the kind of guy that can realistically expect to go into anywhere and be the future starter. So sometimes I think guys got to look at the depth chart and the competition at the spot and think, not for me, but I don't see that with him. But that does bring up the gentleman. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Dan, and the thing is, too, like, you know, he's on a visit to Notre Dame right now. So he took a visit to Notre Dame yesterday. So, you know, maybe he just got that feeling when he was on campus, like, hey, I've been to Ohio State, I've been to Notre Dame before, and, like, I just know now this is the place. So, you know, it just happens. But the good thing is it's early enough where Ohio State can still rebound and get a great quarterback in this class.
Also, and don't boo me off the stage here, Bucknutters, but Notre Dame in some places is viewed in very high esteem. It wasn't like Jurkovec has to go to high school today with his head down because he committed to Notre Dame. It's an impressive commitment with national implications, and he mentioned the spirituality aspect of it. So more power to him. I doubt he'll ever have a chance to do what he could have done at Ohio State, but that's everyone's choice. The individual who may get the chance to do that, talk about him a little bit, Emory Jones, out of Georgia. We had in the boarding house yesterday that there are some who believe Ohio State would accept a commitment from Jones, today. And we weren't going to wait on Jurkovec. Well, now that's no longer in the mix. So do you think he has clearly pulled ahead in the race to be the Ohio State quarterback in 2018? And so just for everyone's reference, Jurkovec is the number 1 rated dual threat quarterback. Emory Jones is number 2 rated dual threat quarterback. So it's not like we're dealing with a major drop off here.
Yeah, no, they're both great players, and I think Ohio State would have accepted the commitment of either Jurkovec or Jones, whoever decides to pull the trigger first. I think that right now Ohio State doesn't have as much leverage with Jones or Jurkovec in terms of getting an earlier commitment. But the good thing for Ohio State is Emory Jones, he was going to commit to Tennessee, a few weeks back, and then when he heard Ohio State had interest, they were going to come down, see him throw, and possibly an offer could come. He said, I'm going to hold off on that Tennessee commitment. This is kind of my dream school, the dreaded dream school, tag on Ohio State. But he said, this is my dream school. I've been watching growing up. Braxton Miller was my favorite player the last few years, watching him in that system. I think it's a great fit for me. I want to, see if they offer, and if they do, I want to go up, take a visit. So, he hasn't visited yet. I don't think that, with that, you could say Ohio State's definitely going to get the kid or whatnot. He could come up and really just not like what he sees in comparison to Tennessee and whatever. But I've never really heard a kid having a bad visit to Ohio State. So I think the next step for Ohio State is getting Emory Jones up for the visit this summer. I think they're hoping for one of the June camps. I think that the staff, from what I've talking to them, they feel very good as far as, where they are heading into a visit with a kid who's never been to campus before. So I think there's no doubt he's their number 1 target now, and he's probably, at this point, the number 1 candidate to be a quarterback in the class of 2018 for Ohio State.
Yeah, there were some rumblings in the boarding house yesterday that if we get him on campus, that could be similar to Jurkovec. They wouldn't be too surprised to be, committed when he was in the 614. I get that. We shall see. Another guy who we expected to be part of this class, or at least we thought to be part of this class, is not going to be. That's the class of 2016. Is Kareem Felder. We talked a little bit about this when the news came out that Felder and Grant Schmidt would not be part of the team this upcoming season. Schmidt, we know, is going to transfer. Felder's a little bit of a different story. Do you think he'll ever get to Ohio State, and why?
Personally, I don't. We have been hearing for a while that, there was grade issues or I don't want to say grade issues or test issues. It was just more of like a qualifying issue, and it turns out like that's what it was. His coach told Phil Jurkovec, we put on the site, that he just didn't take enough classes his freshman year at St. Francis to be able to qualify per the NCAA. So, and I know he had a lot of catch up to do the last couple of years as far as getting his grades and test scores, whatever, where they need to be. So that was number 1, and that's why he didn't make it. I think you're looking at a numbers crunch in the class of 2017, and I think Kareem Felder's a good player. Ohio State really likes him. They obviously took him early in the process, flipped him from Virginia Tech. They think he's a very good player. I think first of all, we don't know. Is he going for a year of post-grad? The coach said he doesn't want to do that. Is he going for a year of JUCO? Is he going to go for 2 years of JUCO? We just don't know the situation yet. So I think a lot depends on that situation, because right now in the class of 2017, I don't think Kareem Felder is a guy that you take, given that, right now they're having trouble squeezing in the guys that are considered elite talent. So I'm not sure he's a guy you take in 2017. Yeah, I'm not sure he's a guy you take in 2017. Maybe if he would be a part of that class of 2018 coming in January of 2018, maybe he's a guy then you go for now. But I just personally don't see – I think it's now a way for – I don't want to say Ohio State wanted to, quote-unquote, process him or get him out of the class. But, I think it's an excuse now where it's a situation – we just don't have room anymore. Sorry, Kareem, we would have taken you, but now we don't have the room. So, again, a lot depends on what his situation is. And what happens, this coming year? Where does he play? What happens? JUCO for 2 years, JUCO for 1 year. Is it prep school for 1 year? If it's just a 1 year deal and he's able to enroll in January of, I guess it would be 2017. I just don't see him as part of the class as far as it just being a pure space issue and him not being good enough to say we're going to take this kid no matter what.
I got to agree. There's too many variables between now and when he would commit. Ohio State's recruiting at too high a level. Each year, the bar has gotten higher to get into the class. So I don't know what happened at St. Francis with his core approach to grades or whatever, but hope there's not an adult at fault for getting him screwed up there. But I would agree with you. I don't expect Kareem Felder to put on a jersey at Ohio State, at least one for the home team. We usually don't talk about preseason rankings. They're all over the map. As we all know, the preseason rankings don't end up really meaning all that much except for does give you a leg up in the early race to stay on top. I got to say Ohio State's the kind of program that doesn't really need that kind of boost. If they're good, they'll be ranked. We had one from Athlon. If it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before. It was yesterday, I think. They were ranked number 3, which is awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. It's the highest they've been ranked, I think, that I've seen. But Dennis Dodd has Ohio State at number 18, which is just ridiculous. And you can take it from there, Alex. He has several Big Ten schools in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little shocked when I opened that article up, and I just kept scrolling to try to find Ohio State. I figured, I think Ohio State lost a lot of talent. There's no doubting that. I mean, that's just a straight fact. That said, I mean, they've been recruiting like crazy, and you can't deny that there's, at least on paper, while it's inexperienced, there's talent there. I think there's too much talent for them to be ranked 18th in the country. I think there may be too many question marks for them to be a top 5 team potentially going into the year. But I think somewhere, as I said on the front row yesterday, somewhere in the 8 to 12 range, to me, would probably be pretty fair. Maybe, even expand it 8 to 14. I think that's a little bit more fair. But the fact that the thing that puzzled me more, it wasn't that Michigan, who I think was number 5 on Dodd's list, was ahead of the Buckeyes. It was the fact that Michigan State at number 9, and I think it was Iowa at number maybe 15 or 16 on that list were ahead of Ohio State. And I just think, Ohio State's going to have more talent on their roster than Iowa. I know Iowa had a great year last year. I kind of think it was a matter of them having somewhat of a fluke schedule. I mean, they did not. I don't think they played Michigan State, Michigan or Ohio State potentially. I think that they had it really easy on the east side, and the west is just the west is just not good. Let's not try to sugarcoat it. So I think to put Iowa ahead of Ohio State is a little crazy. Urban Meyer, much better coach than Kirk Ferentz. I think Michigan State lost a lot. They continue to lose more players on their defensive line. I think they're replacing an all Big Ten quarterback in Connor Cook. They're replacing a lot of wide receivers, some really key offensive linemen, and I think that it's just mind-boggling to me that Dennis Dodd could have 3 Big Ten teams ahead of Ohio State in any given year when Urban Meyer's the head coach.
It's preposterous, dude. Okay? I don't get it. We all know that Ohio State and Alabama have finished 1-2 or 2-1 in the recruiting rankings for like 3 or 4 years, and there's a rubber band effect. There's an elasticity to those rankings that pitch forward. Did anyone just watch the draft? And they think that our entire team left in the draft and there's no one behind them? It's really when I see Ohio State at 18, my guess is, dude is just trying to get page views because that doesn't make any sense. It's not like there's no way Ohio State should be ranked 18th. I mean, to me, 12th, 14th is too low. The lowest I would rank them is maybe 8 or 9, and I think that's conservative. Let an NFL guy come in and to judge it. What does Vegas think? I got to go look that up now that I said that. But my guess is Vegas won't have Ohio State 18th in the betting rankings. All right. We have started really getting into having chats on the front row so that our premium subscribers can get in and get unfettered access to our smart guys. So, Alex, you'll be holding your chat today. Why don't you give everybody the details?
Yeah, we're going to be holding the chat from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We've already posted a thread on the front row. It's pinned to the top for questions. You can post your questions there. Right now we already have about 15, 16 questions in there. So would love for everyone to come in, ask me anything, whether it's Ohio State football, basketball, recruiting, just the college football, college basketball, college recruiting landscape in general, or, hey, any question that crosses your mind that you want to hear answered, feel free to fire away in there, and I'll do my best to punch those out, and then we'll post the transcript for those who weren't able to join us for the chat. We'll post it on the front page so that everyone can get some great insights on the Buckeyes and college football, college hoops, and recruiting in general throughout the day.
Yeah, these are great for the specific questions you have. These are also great for if you have something you want us to find out, pop it on there and we'll go after it. So we really feel like these are a good way for us to reach out and touch the premium subscribers and make those of you who are anteed up for a premium membership make it all worthwhile. We appreciate having Alex in for the show. Let's have a good one, Bucknutters.